What's up, guys? Ian Sandusky from Lakewood Machine and Tool back here again for Practical Machinist, and once again we are live from IMTS, and I'm joined by my friend Mike from GWS.
How you doing?
Mike, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
How's the show been so far?
It's been busy. It's been good.
You guys have an enormous booth here. You guys will be here for the rest of the week, so we got to make sure if you're at the show, come by and say hello. But more importantly, what does GWS do really well?
We do all manner of consumable cutting tools, carbide tools, ceramic, PCD, CBN, thread forming tools, tapping, hole making, pretty much you name it. If you need to remove material, that's what we do.
And most importantly, I know that when I think GWS, I think customs. And I know you guys have a lot of standard offerings, but what do we have right here in front of us?
So GWS, the very first portfolio company, was a custom shop. And this is it's a small sample. We could never fit the amount of customs we've ever done, but we were largely known as just a custom shop. So this is to give you an idea from where we came from. You know, all different forms that are specific to that application. You can't find this in a catalog, you know, all different types of tools. And then we've eventually started to build out a catalog. We've done acquisitions so that we can add either capability or capacity to kind of round out our product offering. So now, as a company that does about 70% of customs, top line revenue about 70%. That notwithstanding, we've got a 35,000 part number catalog. So to offer standards for your regular machine shop.
And for when we're talking about custom stuff, I'm seeing a lot of, like you said, you do not just solid carbide. I'm sure there's some high-speed steel stuff, but when you're dealing with carbide form tooling like this, some of it's form tooling, what kind of industries are coming to you guys looking for custom solutions?
Aerospace is a big one for us. Aerospace, medical, automotive, anyone that needs to produce parts in a hurry looks at customs, because you can do combination features, you can reduce setup times, and we'll show you in a little bit, but combo features, material removal rate, kind of instead of doing tool changes, you can add a chamfer, that sort of thing.
So for instance, instead of trying to 3D, if I was milling this in, trying to 3D a profile with that form, if I get this custom done, I can literally run that down the middle. That form is done.
Exactly right. If you imagine how many tools it would take to produce any one of those shapes.
Crazy.
Tool spots.
Not only people, when they think custom tooling, they often think really high production. I know myself, when we've got custom stuff done, sometimes there's just a form that you cannot hit easily unless you do that, undercut type stuff. Certain forms, so I'm sure you guys do that as well.
Yeah, it becomes kind of a math problem. It really has to do with, do I need 1 million parts, or do I just have 1 or 2 or 10 parts that's a real pain?
Yeah.
And sometimes the math works to do 10 parts with a custom.
Now, kind of moving away for a second from the custom end of things, I do see threading and hole making type stuff here. What are we looking at? I'm seeing a lot of very interesting threading tools.
So all manner of threading. We've just acquired Balix, so all of the thread forming taps that everyone knows and loves from Balix now is a GWS tool group company. We do custom short run taps, very quick turn. We're now a production tap house. We didn't used to be a production tap house. We were more short run specials, thread forming taps, custom thread mills in 48 hours.
In 48 hours?
48 hours, 48 to 72. Everyone's got a little bit of supply chain thing, so it may stretch to 72.
72?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
Right? And then you've got your kind of, combination drill. That's more like maintenance rooms, that sort of thing.
I was looking at these, maintenance, I was just going to ask who uses these maintenance rooms. Why do they like this kind of tool?
Well, they don't have to do any changing. There's no tool change. You can see that's made to go in a tap holder, but then you've got them with the hex heads on them that go right in a drill kind of conversation there.
And these, of course, are your dies.
Your dies, yep.
Again, I see these a lot for maintenance type stuff. You throw them on a lathe, good to go. What's this over here? I was eyeing this before we started.
That's a thread forming tap.
That's a tap?
Yeah, or it's a thread forming tap. No cutting edges.
Looks like a thread gauge.
It does look like one, doesn't it?
And it's almost, I don't know if you can see this on there, it's almost like a hex or a decahedron. Yeah. It's quite interesting to see.
Now, of course, SAT word you just threw out there.
Oh, thank you very much. Nice. I'm trying my best.
Right?
Now this over here, I was told this is and just so you guys know, I feel like every time I talk to GWS, there's a new acquisition. This is the newest acquisition as far as I know. What are we looking at here?
This is the former Peterson product. It still is the Peterson product, but they're now a portfolio company of GWS. So what you'll see here, things that, in your shop, I think what you'd recognize as more stick tool type stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is form inserts, just like a form tool that you would turn the tool, that's turned apart, make every shape on that insert in one pass. Stick tooling for CNC lathes, turret lathes, Swiss machines. This line, what they originally were known for is for their thrift form and thrift shave products. These are more for your multi-spindles or screw machines, and your Davenports, your Brown and Sharps.
How do they work? Just because I've never seen one of these before.
So this was a little bit new to me because that seems like an old school technology, but if you have a Swiss machine and you know how fast a Swiss machine is, it's for flexibility.
Right.
But if you want to make parts in a hurry, they run in Brown and Sharps and those types of screw machines. They're all driven on cams. There's no adjustments made. All of the adjustments are made manually. So this tool, they're not necessarily that accurate.
Right.
What this tool does is it decides the diameter of the part based on the distance between that roller and the insert, and that's a mechanical adjustment.
Oh!
So the cam drives the tool over the roughed shape, and then this controls the diameter, it controls the finish, and that'll hold 2/10 all day, 8 finish.
And this isn't for doing 10 parts. This is for doing 10 parts a second.
These are for, these cycle times are 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 seconds, thousands of parts, they never turn off.
Literally, you make parts by the bucket, they grab them, put a new bucket down, it keeps rolling
Correct.
all day.
Yeah, so these are kind of the roughing tool, this is the ultra fine finish tool.
And what am I looking at right here?
That's an end working tool, that's that thrift point, that's for doing end work. And so what they're doing is it's for parts with very long length to diameter ratios where you've got to do some end work. That steadies the part through that bushing, and then you can do multiple.
Oh, I see. The part goes in that way.
Correct.
I was seeing this way, and I was trying to think.
No, it's fed over the axis of the tool.
That's interesting. I've very specialized stuff, but it's neat to look at.
For sure.
Now I know we wanted to take a look over here. I believe this is the PCD?
Yeah, PCD.
PCD. I wanted to make sure I got that correct.
Right. So PCD, polycrystalline diamond.
Thank you.
Polycrystalline diamond.
Right.
Why do we use that as opposed to something like carbide?
So non-ferrous metals, it's not chemically stable enough to machine iron. So you cannot machine it, it'll disintegrate. But it's a commercial diamond that's built exactly like carbide is. Carbide is tungsten, cobalt, and carbon.
All sintered together.
Right, and that recipe of what the grain size is decides what the quality or the different application of the carbide is. PCD is the same way, grain size, whatever the binder is. That recipe in a non-ferrous metal, depending on what grain size it is, it's 9,000 Vickers on the hardness scale. So
that's really hard.
Well, 10 times the tool life.
Yes,
great
absolutely.
Finishes, and then these are monoblocks. So we draw this line of delineation between the two. This is PCD round.
Okay.
And the only difference is round means you have to have a tool holder, right? The monoblock is the tool holder.
Oh, that's not on a tool holder. That's
right. So
that
shorter
comes on
gauge
HSK.
length, more rigid, less weight. You get a lot of reach without all the gauge length. So if you wanted a tool this long and you bought a PCD round tool, you'd have all this extra length to put it in a shrinker. So this is more rigid.
I don't know if you guys can see that there. It's almost like a giant end mill, but there's inserts essentially, and those are not changeable. That's a one-shot deal.
Well, they're brazed and they're changeable in that if you own this tool and wear it out, you send it back to us, and we'll retip it, regrind it, and it's like brand new.
And that actually that's through coolant, all those little
We're delivering coolant at every one of those inserts.
And what industries are you seeing putting these on the floor right now?
That's big for automotive. It's big, especially automotive. Anything that's a non-ferrous metal, though we've got solutions for carbon and the ferrous metals, but this is very, very high production stuff. Automotive is a big one.
And I don't know if you guys can see this. Not only is that PCD, this is for some kind of very special custom application where they're doing essentially a form tool.
That's exactly what that is.
All in one shot.
Plunges down, makes makes a circular move, and gets every one of those edge breaks, radiuses, whatever it is.
Features are all done in one shot.
Correct.
And I did want to check out one more thing while we have a second here. I did see, some of these guys may have not seen this before, you guys have a full range of inserts. I'm seeing, the one thing I really saw was ceramic and CBN. Can you kind of walk us through quickly just what the difference between a PCD, we just talked about PCD, CBN, ceramic, when do we use these kinds of inserts?
So you remember in school you used to do they had the problem that was the brain teaser. This is to this as that is to this. Right. So where PCD is to non-ferrous metals, CBN is to ferrous metals, ceramic is to HRSAs. right? So your heat-resistant super alloys. Our ceramic inserts are for cutting Inconels, Monels, Hastelloy, Waspaloy, all the alloys, right?
The real tough stuff.
The pain in the butt alloys.
Yes,
right?
absolutely. And that is actually, that's an insert. I don't know if you guys have ever seen, it almost looks like or feels like a toy or like plastic.
Well, it's shocking how light it is, right?
But that will cut the hardest material, toughest material out there.
Yeah, that'll cut hard materials. That's for 718, 625, all of those types.
It almost looks like a button off your shirt.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah,
and then of course.
And so you've got we do custom carbide. One of our portfolio companies was Custom Ground Inserts, CGI out of Indiana. And so they were the leaders in doing custom short run inserts. We do thread whirling inserts. You can kind of see the thread whirling applications there. Pretty much that's a bone screw that it machines.
So this would basically do this in one shot.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way these things work.
Kind of makes a lathe into a turning or a milling. It makes it thread milling basically.
Exactly, all at once, but very, very common for medical applications as far as I know. I've never used one.
Correct, yeah. So this does the patient side of the screw, and then we've got the other solution over there that does the doctor end of the screw. I'll kind of let you decide which is the business end, right? If you're the patient, you're getting the business. If you're the doctor, you're doing
the
it.
business.
Right, yeah. So the PCD for aluminum, CBN for hard turning, some cast, all really hard materials, ferrous metals.
And if people want to learn more about GWS, where can we find you guys online?
GWStoolgroup.com. And look at the website, because the website looks very simple, but every tool you need is there. I mean, I go to the website all the time to.
And how many SKUs did you say there were before?
There's 35,000 in the catalog. There should be more, but.
If you need it, they will have it. Just make sure you check them out. And of course, you guys are here for the rest of the week here at IMTS.
At IMTS.
So make sure you guys stop by and say hello. Thank you very much.
You got it.